Mayweather. That's what you want to do. Go get the bag. And I fully understand it because he's put in the time, he's put in the effort in the sport to be able to do that. The problem I have is he's doing it all international. It's not picking up any fanfare in the States. Like you just said, it's a whole fiasco and chaos now when he enters. He used to be professional when he was doing it at least. With this event, he went total wacko on him. I don't know why. And even the guy, who he fought or whatever, I mean, I don't mind what Mayweather's doing as long as you build it off of your brand and brand it the right way. He's not doing that because he's not training properly. He's not training really at all. He's fighting guys that have no business even being in the ring. It's like the equivalent of Mike Tyson fighting an amateur. Is really what it is. And he's not even training for it. He comes in when he wants, fights when he wants, picks up a check, goes home. That's all it is. And I expected, look, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to be real honest with y'all. Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest, if not, my opinion, Floyd Mayweather, the greatest boxer I have ever seen. The greatest boxer I've ever seen. He, right now, ruining his rep and his legacy as far as his other stuff goes. Because he can do so much more with his name and with his legacy by building other fighters and promoting them the right way.
I mean, he said before though, like, I don't really care about the legacy. I care about the money. I mean, that's in his name, Floyd Money Mayweather. That's what he's here for.
So then do that. I don't have a problem with you doing that, but do it right. Do it right. Build a class act exhibition ring. Build a class act exhibition circuit for yourself that people all over the world want to see enough to constitute you making these millions of dollars, multi-millions of dollars, fighting these people. Make it a huge event. Build around it too. Build up other boxers. Build up a card. Do something. Do something. Jake Paul shouldn't be the one leading the exhibition game. It should be Floyd Mayweather then. Jake Paul's exhibitions have been bigger than Floyd Mayweather's. That's saying something.
I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, it is true, and I agree with most of what you said, but listen, I'm wondering if there's not other problems going on with Floyd. I know a lot of people don't want to face that, and they think, oh, he put his money back. He's got a lot of money. But the problem is we're starting to see some cracks in all of that, right? Why else do this, right? I mean, I've heard time and time before that Floyd Mayweather don't need to fight no more. If you do not need to fight no more, then stop embarrassing yourself with this. Not to mention, we have other little hints and cues, right? Like, why is this on DAZN? Why is Floyd fighting on DAZN? There's some problems there. There has to be, right?
So you bring up a great point. The Floyd Money Mayweather, I've always known, unfortunately, you can call him what you want. He is a genius in marketability and everything, but he's not that smart. Okay. He's always bragged about not having a bank account, keeps cash everywhere he goes, this and that. I don't know if he has one now or not. Hopefully he got hip to it again and got him a bank account and some financial responsibility. But you have a great point. Why is he out here collecting these checks like this and doing it like this? Like, it makes no sense to me, man. There definitely is something. There's something awry there. There's something not right.
This doesn't seem like something Al Heyman would recommend, right? I mean, not to mention he's going to be trying to do business with where PBC is, right? So he should be doing shows on Showtime. Why on God's green earth would you do business with DAZN? It just don't sit right with me. So
well, DAZN has that Saudi money. And as the PGA has recently learned, PGA meaning Pro Golf Tour, Pro Golf Association, golfers, athletes are going for that money. They're dishing out gobs and gobs of money just for these guys to perform. Really, that's it. Just for them to perform. They're taking care of a lot of the other stuff. Their site fees are unbelievably cheap. The type of show that they put on, they fit the bill for a lot of this stuff. The pyros, the pyros, all that stuff. They fit the bill for a lot of that these guys don't have to pay for. Not to mention, the taxes being a whole nother different scenario. So it's because he's chasing that type of money. And that type of money is different. The problem that the world is going to learn is that not all money is good money.
Yeah, but money to somebody named Money Mayweather is a little bit different, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand. Like, why waiting for Jake Paul with the whole thing just seems set up. You got Tommy Fury, which him and Jake Paul been trying to make that fight or whatever for so long. Now they're yelling at each other, and it looks so Springer.
First of all,
looks Jerry Springer, man.
That was hilarious stuff. Papa Fury taking his shirt off in the middle of the ring, trying to go after the bomb. Yeah. I remember hearing. I remember hearing one time Tyson Fury say. He said at one time, that's why I don't let my dad in my fights, because he knows he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna go WWE on him. That was George the Animal. That man, boy, I had goosebumps. That had reminded me of George the Animal still, Lucas.
We got WWE throwbacks now.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. I loved it.
It was entertaining. I'll say that, and I think that's what it was made for. I felt like that was 100% scripted. I don't know about you, but it did not feel genuine.
Fury, I told you. That's why Tyson said Pops is not involved in my fights, because man is nuts. He'll go crazy on somebody. Like, man, dude, that remind me of old school type shit, man. I thought he was gonna go in there and grab somebody's ankle and bite into it and shit.
Yeah, you can't say a lot. You can't say a lot about that event other than that part was entertaining. Oh man. On the real side, boxing of things, though, we had that Yana back, that other fighter, other Kazakhstan fighter.
So I like to talk first and foremost before you talk Yanabek, because I'm not impressed, but I was impressed with the two prospects on the undercard. Number one, mainly being Vargas Jr. Fernando Vargas' son, and I'll butcher his first name, so I don't want to go into it. I think it's like Emilio or something like that. But his son fought on the undercard, and he's only had one fight. He's only 1-0, but he had a hellacious knockout. And the kid has talent and does, like Fernando said, he reminds me a lot of Fernando Vargas in his tenacity, in his toughness, in his punching power, even in his IQ in the ring. Vargas, because he was a brawler, people try to act like he didn't have a heavy IQ. He did have a heavy IQ in the ring. The guy knew how to put together punches. He knew how to take you out when it was time to take you out. His son looks the same way. So I was really impressed seeing his son out there. He looks like he's better than any competition you can put him in right now, and he's only got 2 fights under his belt. That being said, also Maralta. I was very impressed with Maralta. The funny story behind that is that the whole telecast, mainly Tim Bradley, was actually very cautious of him because they want to see more. They want to see him with more intensity. They want to see him show more skill, mostly more intensity than the skill, because we all know he has skill. And I think he's very patient, but he knows what he's doing. He's a hell of a prospect out there. I think they are bringing him up in the right direction, not sending him to the wolves, so to speak, yet, because he needs more confidence. And he oozes confidence in there. Well, he oozes intensity. I wouldn't say confidence, but intensity. And that can make up for a lot of flaws.
Definitely. And I think he's being brought up correctly. It's not like he's taking huge step backs in competition or anything. It's always forward. So, uh, definitely good to see that. So I think he's being brought up right. But back to the main event.
I don't like Annabeth. I don't like him at all, man. I don't like him at all. He has a style only few people can love. And I'll tell you what, if it keeps working for him, I'll respect him more when he gets up there to the real contenders. But against guys like these smos that he's fighting, yeah, I call them smos. That's my new name for these people. For these smos that he's fighting right now, I'm not impressed at all. Step your level of competition up at this point because you are a champ, you have a belt. Step your level of competition up. Let's see what you can do. I'm not impressed with this guy at all.
I mean, I think Bentley was just more game than what he expected.
At that
he
and at that level is sad. It's
I
sad
mean,
at
what
that
he
level.
what did he have? One loss, I think. I mean, it wasn't. It's not terrible.
That
Um,
nobody's even heard of. Nobody's heard of this kid this guy for a reason. Because he ain't fighting nobody. Yanabek again. Lucas. Yanabek is a champion in a prime division.
yeah, I mean, it definitely reminds me a lot of Canelo. Just coming up and kind of got gifted that belt, and
I
after that,
mean, we bringing up Canelo. We're gonna talk about this later in the show, hopefully. Hopefully.
but I mean, it's slow growth. I don't know. I don't see any issues uh, with Yannick. I kind of like what I saw. I think you can tell he's still very skillful. I agree he may not be the most entertaining, but I mean it was a good fight to watch. I wasn't put to sleep or anything. So
No, by all means, he's not boring at all, but he's not the intensity is not there to where I expected from a guy like Bentley who is game, but let's face it, he's game enough to where he's playing in the hands of Yanabek. Okay, with that style that he came out there with, Yanabek should have been able to do more. His game plan should have been ready and prepared for that, and that a lot of that to me, in my opinion, has a lot to do with your level of competition. Some people fight to the level of competition that they have, and he ain't had much.
that's well stated. But are you still doubting he can take on anybody, any of the elites?
Right now, yeah, because he hasn't shown me nothing. And those fights are definitely on the table, should be on the table.
Who do you want to see him fight next? Then who do you want? What would prove to you that he's real?
um, so again, like I said, he's a world champion, right?
Yeah.
So the number one name they was calling out was let me see. I got a name for you. I know exactly who he should fight.
All right.
Andre. That's exactly who needs to fight is Andre. That fight right there needs to be made tonight. They should be signing off on that tonight because they both need that. I think stylistically that would be a hell of a fight for both guys.
I think Andre needs a meaningful fight more than anybody in boxing right now. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. He's been in the game for so long. He has really no meaningful fight. The one name I can probably think of is Vanes Moroyison, and he wasn't impressive in that.
That's my point. They both need it. They both need this fight.
They both could use the fight. I think for Yannick it's a little less needed, but Andre, he needs anything right now. He needs anything he can get because that has been one long career. I'm gonna say the same kind of about Crawford. I mean, if he needs to make a meaningful fight soon, he is getting up there in age. Before you know it, he's not even going to be able to compete anymore.
Right, and it's just, trust me, man, a fight like that stylistically for these two, it is gonna be a good fight to where it's gonna get people talking about, if not both of them, at least the winner. It's gonna get people to talk about the winner because it stylistically it's a great matchup.
Let me take a look. I was wondering how old is Andrade? I believe he's close to 37, but and that's getting up there for a fighter. Oh,
Yeah.
He's 34. A little younger than what I thought, but when you only fight twice a year, I mean, all that is 6 more opponents, and you're right there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I agree. I think he does need to prove himself more. But I think he's doing it slowly, and the way it's being brought up does remind me of Canelo-esque way. It's just small steps forward. He needs a bigger jump. I'm not with the whole, oh, well, he's young, give him time. I mean, the WBC said that to me directly when we were talking about Canelo, Rob, about how he's being brought up and how, I said, what is he doing defending against guys that, aren't ranked? And he's like, oh, well, WBC piped in for him and basically said, all of these have been voluntary fights. Nothing has been mandatory. And I'm like, well, where's the mandatory, And you don't hear anything back. He's like, well, Kirkland was hurt and all these things. But he listed a few people, they weren't available. And like, why is the WBC even backing this guy? That some people have that train behind them. And it sounds definitely like it can be going in favor of Yannick. But time will tell on how he's brought up.
So the whole WBC thing, and you can take your Canelo topic because you love talking about that, but that's another topic for later that we can definitely discuss. But you got to go, sometimes you just got to forget about the mandatories and all that type of shit and just fight the best matchup for you. Okay. The thing with Andre is I'm not gonna say he needs to go straight for Canelos and shit like that right now because he ain't fought in 2 years now. He ain't fought there. He needs to build his way back up. But what he needs to do is he needs to be more active and fight guys like this and at least 3 times next year. If I see a fight like this, which will be a hell of a fight, and then him fight 2 more times and come out with all victories, then he's right where he needs to be. Right back where he needs to be, at least I'll say. But I don't know. You could check it maybe for me, but at this, I don't even think Andre has any titles anymore.
Yeah, I thought he had to vacate, if I remember right. Let's see.
Yeah, he vacated that title that Yanibet, that I believe that Yanibet won.
He may still be the WBO World Middleweight Champion. I'm not sure if he vacated that one or not. Let's see. I mean, you at least usually when you have a belt, you got a little bit more, a little bit more cred, and people would at least want to fight you a little bit more marketability. That's not always the case, and yeah, I think actually I think Yanibek got that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yanibek,
so, yeah.
he vacated the title that Yanibek has.
Yeah, I mean he needs to definitely fight him now. Then get that belt right back. I don't know. I feel bad. I feel like we were cheated out of Andre's possible career. I really hope that he gets some better fights. There's a few out there that I feel like that for. Crawford's one of them. I mean, making a big impact on our boxing. I think we could been treated to so much more fights. I mean, Crawford's one of the more entertaining fighters, and we haven't been able to see those big welterweight names that we would have been able to see should have been on PBC. But yeah, there's so many that it's hard to say. Lomachenko still being underused. We don't see him against any good names. I think a lot of that is promotional issues, right?
No. No comment.
No comment? You think it's all documented? Well, I think if any days we don't have a ton to talk about this week, man.
Listen, no, it's not it's not promoters. Fighters make damn fights. At the end of the day, fighters make fights. And I can say that wholeheartedly that it's not just the promoters now, because what you're hearing, going into the topic, we might as well talk about Spence and Crawford. We might as well talk there. Okay. Right. Here's the telltale of Spence versus Crawford and the issues behind it and why it's not being made. Because what you're hearing from both fighters, number one, from Spence, he's not even negotiating. He's not even touching it. He's letting PBC and Al Heyman negotiate the fight. He's not touching it, period. All he did was say, yeah, let's make the fight happen, and he turned it over to them. If he wanted the damn fight to happen, he would tell Al Heyman and all of them, do whatever you got to do to make it happen. Send over our demands, and then whatever he doesn't agree to it. Let the fight happen. Spence is not doing that. He doesn't care to make the fight unless it fits his benefit.
Yeah, I mean
Crawford, hold on. Crawford, same direction. If you want the fight, you already said you're agreeing to everything that they put out there. That's how bad you want the fight. But, I don't want it bad enough to where I can't give up full control. It's out of your hands. Because guess what? Now you're in fucking Omaha, Nebraska again on Black Prime trying to sell a pay-per-view. So, you damn right. It's the fighters. It's not just the promoters at this point. It's the fighters. Fighters make the fights. You tell your team, get it done. I don't give a shit. I'll sign any paperwork they send through as long as it's not for no money, which we know it's not going to be. As long as they're not completely getting hosed, we know it's not gonna be that.
See, I don't know. I mean, if you've heard what the negotiations entail between Spence and Crawford, it did kind of sound like, you know, nothing. Like there was no guaranteed money, and that's unheard of.
Look,
I mean,
the revenue share alone. This fight, I kid y'all not. This fight was gonna be top 5 pay-per-view.
I don't know about that. I don't know about
Lucas,
that.
It's going to be top 5 pay-per-view, hands down. You're sharing the revenue off of the top 5 pay-per-view in history. Go for that.
I mean, that's fine, but let's pretend the worst happens and it doesn't get as many buys as what you think. I mean, you kind of need that money still there. You can't be spending overpaying, and you know, to not have a guaranteed money for Crawford, I'm sure it's pretty scary. You know, especially when it's not my promotion that's handling it. He's basically letting a third party control this that he is not signed to. Spence is signed to it. So, I mean, I'm not trusting anybody with my money either. And when they just got done offering all this other, like, okay, 5 million guarantee, a 3 million guarantee, and now you're saying that this is going to be one of the highest pay-per-views and you can't guarantee me nothing? That seems suspect. You're trying to pull the wool over my eyes in somehow, shape, or form. I think, either deep in the legal, you would have found some other issues, whether it be like him just, you get a share of whatever the profit is. And like we talked about in previous ones, they can just try to run up the cost of it so that he doesn't get that much. And you wouldn't have that either if that's your dollars.
It's it was guaranteed a 2-fight deal. You guaranteed a 2-fight deal. All right? That's your caveat right there. You guaranteed a 2-fight deal. And guess what? If you're going to win the fight, if you're that confident in yourself that you're going to win the fight, you get the bigger purse next time. You get all the perks. Take the fucking fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you... That's... I don't know. I hear you. I hear you. And usually I'm saying the same thing, but like I said, it's just...
Listen, I'll tell you what. I'll do you one better on Crawford. I'll do you one better. No, I can't. Damn it. Never mind.
I was to say, I mean, I'm with you as far as Crawford needing to make a fight
I was going to do you one better and say this, but I can't. Here's why. Because now you're subject to back to Omaha, fucking Nebraska on Black Prime, but they offered him the biggest check of his career.
Yeah, I mean,
so I can't say that he didn't have a better option. Fan wise, this fight right here there's no better option fan wise. He ain't gonna raise any more fans after this. But money wise, he did himself a solid.
I mean, I hear you, and I was kind of saying the same about him at least getting into that fight. You know what I mean? Like him getting into the Spence fight, such as taking a Sean Porter, taking a Denny Garcia, something like that. Then yeah, take the low ball offer, take that bullshit offer, beat the hell out of him, and really get that win. But see, the goal is the Spence fight, right? I mean, that is the goal. And when you reach that goal, you expect, hey, you know, this is the top of the mountain. I'm going to be getting pizzade. But then they hear there's not really something guaranteed. Oh, man, what? You know, I can get more for doing some, you know, shit on the side versus taking the toughest competition I've ever fought, you know, and not getting any guaranteed money for it.
But it's a 2-fight deal.
I mean, I hear you. But at the same time, you got to admit, no guaranteed money. That promise is solidified. It should always at least be able to guarantee him something and then say, and this amount of shares.
You got revenue split.
Right.
It's gonna be up there, but there's not a bigger fight than
I
that.
hear you.
But we got other fish to fry tonight. We really do. I'm tired of talking about this subject now because we can go back and forth all day. But the truth lies in what it is. Two people want to fight. They gonna fight each other. Period. Okay. I'm gonna fight you, Lucas, in the back alley for free if you talk about my mama.
All right. Well, we were already kind of talking about Spence, so let's move this into the WBC mandatories. The new WBC mandatories. They have mandatory fight now between Errol Spence and Keith Thurman Jr. Are you happy with that one? I mean, that sounds like a good fight for me. I've been waiting to see Thurman get back into it. I kind of feel like he needs a tune-up, right?
No.
I feel that way. I mean,
Keith Thurman's tune-up was his last fight. His tune-up was his last fight.
Who'd he fight? I can't remember anything but Pacquiao for some reason.
You're way behind. No, you're not, because you're only like one fight behind. But he fought Barrios or whatever, the kid who fought Tank at 140.
Ah, that's right. I remember that. Well, I mean, you why don't you? I understand you want to see Spence Crawford. Is that why you just like
No, Spence Thurman. No, I don't. I like Spence Thurman. Okay. I like it a lot for Spence. It is, and I'm glad that they did make it a mandatory fight. I hope and pray that Keith Thurman brings it in the ring that night. Which you know what, I know he will. Keith always brings it. He always does bring it. He showed me a lot when he came back and won in vicious fashion. Although he really was being kind of a weight bully because he was picking on a guy moving up in weight.
Oh, yeah.
But, he needed that to get that under his belt, get that back in, get in ring shape, shake off some of the rust, which there wasn't much there. Spence, whole nother animal. Okay, we all know that. Spence is a whole nother animal. But Spence is weaker than Crawford.
Weaker chin.
Weaker all the way around. And who am I saying that? Why am I saying that? Because of the Sean Porter fights.
So you think Sean Porter was able to crack him and open him up?
Sean Porter went toe-to-toe with him.
But
he could not do that with Crawford.
I gotta agree with you there. I think that's playing with some fire for sure. But no, I do think Thurman's definitely a good fight for Errol Spence. I hear a lot of chatter basically saying like, "Oh, that's a step down for Spence," and I don't think so. Put some respect on Keith Thurman's name. Just because he lost to Manny Pacquiao, especially at an old age, people are kind of putting him off, saying he ain't nothing now, and it's like that is not the case.
Well, Keith, it's what have you done lately? And even with that fight, with Barrios or whatever, it's been a year now since he last fought again. If I was to put one thing on my wish list for Christmas, it would be for these guys to be fucking active. I don't care who you fight somebody. Please, for the love of God, fight.
Yeah, then we have Stevenson against Isaac Cruz.
This fight right here, I'm very much looking forward to this fight.
I don't know anymore. Like Haney, Isaac Cruz, I'm with, but in my mind, Spence is more able to take care of a style of Isaac Cruz and more of a matador.
First of all, Spence is not fighting Isaac Cruz.
Not what I meant. Stevenson.
Shakur Stevenson.
So
Let's
Stevenson,
talk about this since you want to go there.
I think he's going to have an easier time with that style. I think Haney, one, is slightly a little bit more chinny than Stevenson. I think Steven's better overall fighter, and I think they will eventually meet.
All over again. Why are you talking about Haney now?
I'm talking about Haney for a good reason, because Haney and is a common with Isak Cruz, one.
No,
and
that's Tank. That was Tank that fought Isak.
No, but we were talking about Isak Cruz, and we've talked about Isak Cruz possibly having to fight Haney
versus Haney. Okay,
yeah.
So you're talking about Isak moving away from Haney to fight Shakur. You think Shakur is a harder opponent?
I do. I think he's able to beat Haney more likely anyway, at least than a Stevenson fight. I think Stevenson, he's going to play right into Stevenson's hands. Stevenson will be able to pick him off all night. But I think he can catch Haney. I think he can lay Haney out. I think him and Haney are more evenly balanced and a more fight I would like to see. But him versus Stevenson, I think it's going to be pretty one-sided. I think he's going to matador him all night and make it really boring, beat him up. I think even stop him. And that's saying a lot, because Isak Cruz has got that dog in him. But he won't get the dog beat out of him if he fights Stevenson. I really don't like this mandatory. The other one between Spence and Thurman, I'm with. This one, though, I think it's a bad style matchup for me. I love Isak Cruz, but I just don't see this one being good for him.
So, the biggest weapon that Isak Cruz has to him is his style. Because for a guy like Stevenson, no matter how many punches you throw at him, he's still going to come forward. He's going to be there all night. You have to have the mentality to try to take this guy out. Because if he's still there rounds 9, 10, 11, or 12, you're bound to get knocked out. You are bound to get knocked out. Now, he switched his style up more in his last fights because he actually has attacked his opponents a lot quicker. He's starting to go out there and attack them in rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4. Shakur likes to start slow, so he's going to be on the back foot trying to keep him at bay much, much longer than he wants to in this fight. The difference between Haney and Shakur, the difference between all of these guys and Shakur, is that Shakur lacks the discipline to take you out or break you down like he needs to the whole fight. He takes rounds off.
I can't believe you saying that. I'm kind of taken aback, Rob. I think Stevenson really just dog walks. Isak Cruz. I would kind of see this vice versa.
First of all, Tank didn't, and Tank's the man at this in this sport. So Tank couldn't do it. Shakur sure as hell can't.
Listen, it's a little bit different. Their styles are going head to head, so it's a little bit different. Stevenson's going to be able to fight off his back foot, and you're right. You know one thing for certain in that fight, and what is that? Isak Cruz is coming fucking forward, right? So, Stevenson's got a plan for that, right? He's got great footwork, a great ring generalship, especially for someone.
But he's got no power, Lucas. If he doesn't have
that, that's not where you're all the way right.
Any power, then Cruz is not going to respect him.
I'm going to say this: he does not have knockout power, but he's got that power that to respect. Maybe not enough to chop you down like a tree. Maybe not enough to do a one-punch knockout.
That's how you beat Isak Cruz. You have to break him down.
I don't think you can. I mean, he's the Terminator. What you do with the Terminator, you move him over here, right? You just you judo almost, just guide his momentum away from you. This is not how you beat Isak Cruz. How you beat Isak Cruz is just that. Tire him out, tire that machine out, and I think Shakur Stevenson has the best chance at that. And I kind of had that visual playing also. I know I was talking earlier about Haney and him because we talked about that in a lot of previous shows. Haney versus Isak Cruz, I see that looking a lot like Bradley Providnikov, and Providnikov does remind me a lot of Isak Cruz, like a Mexican Isak Cruz, and that's how I see that fight going. I see Haney being able to get caught and make a great matchup stylistically and televised. It would be amazing, but I think Stevenson just is that much more dominant skill wise, and is not going to, and defensive wise, he's not going to allow him to catch him like that, and he'll be able to, just one-sided fight for me.
So on a day like today, I feel compelled to talk about the other side of a fighter. Isak Cruz pretty much lives in the gym. He lives to fight. Period. He's a fighter. Has been his whole life. Shakur Stevenson is a hell of a talent. He's got all the tools. Works hard when he's in camp. Does all the right things when he's in camp. Outside of that, he's trying to live like a hip-hop artist. And he just doesn't have the full lifestyle dedication of a world-class champion fighter. And I'm going to challenge him on these types of fights until he proves otherwise.
But you do still think that this is a good WBC mandatory fight. I say no, I don't really want to see it, but it sounds like you're still with Stevenson.
Yeah, because aside from him versus Tank or him versus Haney, this is the best option available. And I really like the fact that Cruz earned it. He's earned it.
Yeah, I think the fight alone just with Gervonta earned him a rematch myself. But I had him either close to or winning that fight. I have to pull my scorecard up, but I mean that was a great fight. I really hope they get back and do that fight again. I don't know if Tank really wants it though. He said after that fight, I believe, no rematch. So.
He even said that he should fight Raw. He been trying to. You know what's crazy about Tank? Tank sits ringside for Isak's fights. He actually is a fan of Isak Cruz. He really is, which is why he's trying to throw other people at him. He'd like to see Raleigh fight him. He probably would love to see Shakur fight him. He don't want to fight him, no, because he's been in there with him, and he did what he had to do to win that fight. He knows it's not going to be pretty. He's not going to be able to break this guy down. It's going to go tit for tat, and he's in jeopardy of getting caught. Therefore, he's a fan. He truly is a fan of Isak Cruz. You can tell.
I mean, that is really cool. I like to see that between fighters. Kind of a mutual respect that they have. But yeah, that it's amazing, and I want to see that fight again. That's one that I was hoping WCPC could mandatory, but I mean, what we're really trying to move towards though, Rob, is right a Tank or a Haney Tank unification at 135 if possible.
Yeah, that would be tremendous. What I'd like to see would be amazing next year would be for Haney to take on Lomachenko, and then if he wins that, and the winner of that fight take on Tank. Let's go ahead and get it done. And that being said, going into rapid fire tonight, there is a huge conversation going on right now with ESPN and all the commentators over there. And they've said it. Tim Bradley has said it. Andre Ward has said it now. Mark Kriegel really has been the ambassador to this, but they are now correct. there are too many guys. It's not even just one person in each division. There are too many guys in these divisions that are top-notch fighters that aren't fighting each other. It's time to get the real estate moving. Okay? We've been in a drought for too long, Lucas. It's time for these guys to start fighting each other. And I'm not even just talking Spence Crawford, y'all. There are damn good fighters in that very same division out there to fight.
No, you're right. I mean, other than just champions in certain divisions that aren't fighting each other, that's disappointing in itself. Call yourself a champion, we should be fighting other champions, right? But no, that it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in any division in boxing. So we can't say that it, is something that happens a lot. Devin Haney's close to it. He's close to it. I need to see him fight Tank first. And of course we had, undisputed champions, but were they really? Because how long do you stay and fight them newcomers before you just vacate anyway, right? We have not seen one stay and just dominate. We just have not seen that. So I honestly can't say. I mean, we've ever seen just that guy at any weight class, because we see people jump up, steal a belt, come back down, vacate that one. You know what I mean? The belts are almost there just for some extra money now. It's not even as a sign that, they need to fight each other or anything like that. It's not used as any kind of measuring stick. It's a money tool at best. Other than that, I mean, people vacate them at will. Oh, you're going to make me fight that dude? I don't want to fight that dude. I'm going to vacate. I think boxing needs a change of, like a government overlook, because the commissions really can't do shit.
Well, I want to go division. Okay, I want to go division by division, because when you add up all the fights that are out there that aren't happening, it's sick to my stomach. It makes me sick to my stomach. Okay, the heavyweights are fighting each other. Okay, but let's face it, that division is not where it once was. That division actually is in last place, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know about last place. You still got Fury.
They're exciting
because
they are fighting each other.
Yes. Right. I mean, there's definitely still intriguing matchups, though, right?
And there are intriguing matchups that are happening.
Right.
They are. Cruiserweight, don't nobody mess with them. Light heavyweight, okay? The problem with light heavyweight, Bivol is fighting those guys. He is. The problem is, he's not getting the credit he deserves.
Okay. Yeah, I think Bivol's definitely overlooked a lot. I know we talked quite a bit about it on our last show. I mean, pound for pound wise, you got to put him up there. But is he going to be able to even fight? Better be able to try to prove he's that guy. I don't know.
But that's the only one. He fought Canelo. He fought Zurdo Ramirez now. Joe Smith Jr. has lost his way out of there. Butterbeef is the only one left for him to take on. But then the problem starts. It starts here at super middleweight, because you have Canelo not wanting to stay and commit at that damn weight class and fight David Benavidez. Okay? You have finally we have Caleb Plant agreeing to fight Benavidez, but that shit could have happened already.
I mean, to be fair, I think Plant's out there wanting some of these fights. Taking on Darrell, I think, was a risk for him in the first place, and I appreciated him reaching out for that. And then him dropping the Benavidez fight, falling through, and then him making this fight with Plant. I think both of them are proving that they want to do that and they want to fight the best. So props out to them, because neither one is going to be an easy fight. That's going to be, basically at the top of the division.
Right. Finally,
Sucks we had to wait, but
we had to wait for
they're still in their prime though, right? I mean, they're still there. It's
luckily, but hell. No, man.
Just no patience. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, because this is where the problem starts, Lucas, because you're giving them credit for Anthony Durrell. No, I don't credit that. David Benavidez's last fight was David Lemieux. These are guys that are past their prime. You're the new blood. Fight each other.
No, I agree. I mean, you got to build your name and build that money. We all know how boxing works. Once you get to 17-0, you're worth about $500,000 in a fight. So against a big name.
But let me finish my journey.
Go ahead.
Go to middleweight.
Sorry.
Jamel Charlo, move the fuck up. Move up. I'm tired of you fighting nobodies. But in your division, you have Gennady Golovkin. You never fought. Demetrius Andrade, you never fought. Now you have Yanabek, not even fighting next. You're not even fighting him next. Hell, you could even go to the losers bracket here, or to the up-and-coming bracket here. Jaime Munguia, take that fight. Chris Eubank Jr., take that fight. I hadn't even paid to see him fight damn old-ass Lara.
Lara stays with it though. I mean, even old Lara being as old as he is, he's still able to hang. So I mean, yeah, it's an entertaining fight still. He still has a lot to prove. You're right, Charlo hasn't really
all those fights. Let's go to his brother now. Okay, at 154, I give him credit. I give him a lot of credit. He unified the title. He unified the division. He has a tough matchup coming up next against Tim Tszyu, the number 4 in the division. He's already fought Tony Harrison. So Erickson Lubin is now really out of the loop. So the only 2 guys really he needs next is where he's at with Tszyu, and then he also needs to fight Fondora. I think that Fondora fight will be a great fight in that division. But this is a fighter after this next year, he needs to move up.
No, I agree. I think beating Tszyu and beating Fondora would prove a lot. And you can move up with pride, not thinking that you didn't unify and then actually staple your name on that division. I think he's kind of the one that's in the spot that we were just talking about. He's the one that's in the spot to actually do that. To unify, be undisputed, stay there, fight, be the champion that we all hope he can be.
Okay, and then my most problematic fucking division in all of history, the damn welterweights. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz fight each other. Period. Boots and Virgil should get it on next year.
Yeah.
Crawford and Spence, absolutely. Okay, you couldn't get it done this year. They better get it done next year. Ortiz and Boots, y'all need to fight each other. And then let's let the winners fight each other. Damn it.
Oh, man.
I have some guys.
Welterweight's still so deep. I mean, you got guys that just aren't.
Which I'm about to say.
Okay,
you still have guys underneath them that can fight each other and move up the rankings to fight the bigger talent. You have Stanios. You have Keith Thurman. These guys can get it on and fight each other. You have Cody Crowley creeping up, who actually is at 21-0, and his last fight was against Josito damn Lopez. Fight somebody. That whole damn division is not fighting anybody worth a damn.
Ugas goes out there to try to prove himself, but I know it's hard for him to get certain fights. So I don't really hold him to accountable, but Thurman.
That's why I didn't mention Ugas.
Yeah, I think Thurman, he can be reaching out to more guys. They just mandated that fight, so hopefully that fight goes through. But Virgil Ortiz, he's He's top rank, isn't he?
Virgil Ortiz is top rank.
I think that's a big problem for him, unfortunately. But a little bit harder to make some other fights. But yeah, I agree. Virgil Ortiz is in desperate need of an attention fight or a big name fight. I think he's earned it thus far. So somebody needs to step up and give it to him. I just think Virgil Ortiz doesn't have a big marketability. But
then you go to my most prize. You go from the lowest of the lows to the highest of the highs. The best division right now, because they all fought each other or fighting each other, is the junior welterweights, the 140-pound fighters. Why? Because Jack Cottrell is now number one in that. He's undisputed, and he has a rematch coming up with Josh Taylor. Okay? Or he's not undisputed, my bad. Josh Taylor is still undisputed. I'm sorry. Josh Taylor is still undisputed, but it was a controversial fight with Jack. Okay? And they have that rematch to settle it. But then you have Jose Ramirez, who's fought Pedraza. He's fought, and that's his only loss. You have Prograis. Underneath Prograis, you have Zapata, and they're fighting each other next. You have Ryan Garcia, who actually is talking more shit than he's doing fighting. And then you now have Teofimo Lopez down at the bottom because he was at 135, and he's fighting Pedraza next. These guys have all fought each other and continue that trend. So this is where people need to look at when they look at this division.
I agree. I think they've done a lot of mixing up. I think, that this division does highlight that. And you can't really think of, one that won't be. So Teofimo Lopez, obviously, we're going to be able to want to see anywhere in those top names that you just mentioned, not to mention Ryan Garcia, who's talked a lot of shit. Now, hopefully he can step out and make a big fight soon, because I think we're all kind of sick of that.
Fight somebody. And then you can combine these next two weight classes at 135 and 130. Same issue. These guys talk a lot of shit. They don't fight each other. They just talk. At 135, you have Devin Haney and Lomachenko. Haven't agreed to fight each other yet. Then you have Tank, who hasn't even fought anybody behind him other than Isaac Cruz. You have Kambosa, who Haney did fight Kambosa twice, so he was tied up into that, and he became undisputed. But it's time to put them on the line and fight the people that are really worth the damn.
Got JoJo.
JoJo's not even ranked anymore. So no. But my point is that these guys all needed Haney, Lomachenko, Tank, even with the Kambosas, Isaac Cruz, William Cepeda in the mix, which William Cepeda is fighting Jojo Diaz. But like I said, Jojo's out the mix. He ain't even ranked no more. So you have them guys right there combined with the 130-pound weight class. And I'm only going to name one name. Shakur Stevenson at 130. Move the hell up.
All right.
And anything under 130 don't count. So I ain't going there.
I mean, I honestly don't know how long Haney's going to stay at the weight now that we're talking about it. During the last weigh-in, he looked kind of scary. I mean, he was pretty drained.
That's what y'all say, and then he came out and put a masterclass performance.
He did. But you can't tell me you didn't see some cheekbones and think, man, dude looks super drained.
Y'all are looking at pictures and Photoshop shit and all that. That's what y'all are looking at.
It wasn't Photoshop.
That's what y'all are looking at.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of guys aren't fighting each other, but that's been the case. That's how boxing's always been. Will it change? I don't know.
It better change next year, damn it. It better change. Or I'm gonna start writing off some of these damn fights. Because this year was terrible. But the women saved y'all. saved all
that they
y'all's
did.
asses.
Who had that, on their 2022 bingo that the women would step up and kind of save boxing this year? Because, I mean, without them women's fights this year, because the women have been on fire, I mean, we wouldn't have a lot to say about boxing in 2022. The women stepped up and saved boxing this year. Made it all a little bit more entertaining for the rest of us.
Sure did.
Rob, was that it for your rapid fire?
Yep, that was my big issue for the week.
Well, I know there wasn't a lot to talk about, this week, but hopefully next week we'll have a little bit more on the agenda. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, this is Tough Talk Tuesday. Join us every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Follow all of our social media at Heavy Bag Boxing. Thank you and have a good night.